Good morning, my friends. I am Karen LeBlanc. I minister to this congregation as we minister to each other here. We are a beloved community of people who believe that everyone is worthy of respect, that science is real, the democratic process is a sacred thing, and that we are all part of an interconnected web, and the light and energy that we give out makes a difference in the world. We are people of purpose here, and everyone is welcome in this sanctuary. And if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope that you might become part of this way cool family of seekers here. And if you're new, you can fill out one of these blue cards that is in your pew. And if you need a pen, there are some at each entrance here. And just hand it to one of the ushers, and that will get you on our mailing list. So you can see what's going on here, because we've got a lot going on here. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. We've got, I see everyone is wearing their masks. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We're trying to stay as safe as we can so we can remain open. You may sing with your mask on. Coffee hour is unfortunately still canceled for the moment. As soon as it's safe enough, we will go back to that. Instead of candles of joy and concern today, we are going to be doing candles of memory. This is sort of a memorial service. This is our honoring the ancestors service. So at any time during the service today, there are candles at the back that people can light. I suggest maybe waiting for a nice musical interlude to do so. We do have kids' busy bags at the back if we have some more kids visiting, except for Brody, who is always a good helper. We need ushers for Sundays. Sign up. Take a week. That would be very helpful so I don't have to track people down on a weekly basis. I will be away from the pulpit for the next 2 weeks. Next week we will have Nico here, and they will be celebrating the pagan holiday of Samhain. And I believe Cups is going to be helping them with that. The New Cups group is in Middleborough. What else? Let's see. And I will be away the week after that, November 7th. But Kirk Nelson will be here talking about our Tiffany Mosaic. And I think that'll be a really cool service. Last but not least, if you will please put your phones into worship mode, we will begin by lighting our chalice. Brody, you want to help me light the chalice? Our chalice lighting is from Orville Dewey, who was our minister from 1823 to 1834. That's him over there in the corner on the pedestal. How many a knot of mystery and misunderstanding would be untied by one word spoken in a simple and confiding truth of heart? How many a solitary place would be made glad if love were there? And how many a dark dwelling would be filled with light? Our opening words are also from Mr. Reverend Dewey. The dead carry our thoughts to another and nobler existence. They teach us, and especially by all the strange and seemingly untoward circumstances of their departure from this life, that they and we shall live in a future state forever. Our opening hymn this morning is number 128, 128. For all that is our life, you may rise and sing with us if you are willing and able. sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we give our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. Please take the time to greet one another. Welcome, welcome. Now we will read together our covenant, which is printed in your order of service. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. And now I believe we will have some centering music. Love me some Grieg. Our first reading, a memorial for all ages, In Good Company, about the women who made our footstools. If you're new here, look down at the cool footstools. These are not kneelers, these are footstools to keep your feet off the cold floor. I'm going to tell you about it. At Edna Thone's memorial service in 2015, I put the footstools she made up in front where everyone could see them, and it gave her family the comfort of knowing that her creative energy, which manifested here, remained in good company and will do so for many years to come. I don't know if the women who made these footstools realize how their efforts would make this sanctuary a place where you could see and feel so clearly the creative spirit and the camaraderie that they put into that project. All I know and feel is that I can't imagine this sanctuary without these footstools. It's a very big part to me of what makes this place unique and sacred. And they each tell us a story. Each individually is a work of art, but they tell a story to me as well as a whole. I've been in this church for over 20 years, and I've appreciated and handled every one of these treasures. And we have a story for all ages quite literally under our feet here. These are not kneelers, though when you're welcome to use one as such, I suppose, and goodness knows I have over the years. They're here to be functional. They're here to rest your feet on, to be just a little warmer on a cold day. And maybe that's a perfect metaphor for what the essence of this church is and has been for a very long time. A place to find warmth and welcome, spiritual refuge, and challenges for your mind. A place to put your feet up and feel safe and surrounded by friends. The beauty of these individual artworks is astonishing to me. I can see and feel the love and care that went into each one from start to finish. And I know the story of how they were made and how Julia Daly mostly affixed them to the bases that they're on. But the story that I like to share about them is when I bring people on tours here, is how as this project went on for literally a generation, the names on the bottom where the women would sign them changed over the years. There was a point that we can see when the women took control of their individuality. For example, Judy might have written Mrs. Ned Lund on the bottom of one of her footstools, and over the course of the years it would have just said Judy Lund. And it happened when change was taking place in our country that made a difference for the rights of women and for all people, regardless of their race and religion and culture. And these footstools are a legacy to that period in time, as well as to the men and women, our ancestors here, who brought this amazing decades-long project to fruition. So for all who have come before us and inspire us, I light a special candle today of remembrance and ask our ancestors here for their wisdom and strength to guide us through the difficult times. Candles of joy and concern, which we would usually do at this point in our service. This week we're going to do memorial candles. We've been away for 18 months plus, and lots of people passed away this year. People that were members of our congregation or friends of our congregation. So I will light some candles for them right now and speak their names. Robert Piper. Trudy Clark. Dylan McGowan. Judy Brownell. Reverend Richard Kellaway. Man Reed. Thomas Risden. Joan Stratton. Chris Brown. Claudette Blake. Kermit Dewey. Gertrude Burr. Light one final candle there for David Johnson as well. Spirit of life, God of everlasting light, Lady of infinite love, that which holds all. Give us comfort in our grief, and let our shared memories and shared loss reassure us that every life is valued under this roof, that we hold our beloved dead close to our hearts here, and that the support we can offer each other is real and valuable. We pray that you hold the souls of our loved ones in your love and light to rest and be renewed. In this time of mourning, help us to heal our hearts. In this time of remembrance, help us recall the happiness our loved ones brought to our lives, and let us forgive all past anger. May we find comfort in our shared grief, and may we be grateful for all the blessings, large and small, that our short lives contain. O everlasting mystery, lift our spirits into the light of so many lives well lived, and give us the strength to move with grace through the cycles of life as we continue on our own paths, made richer by the ones that we love. These are not just names we speak. These are the names of our friends and our family. This is the long memory of our congregation, the hands that have done the work to bring us here. Once you become part of a community like this, your energies create the future. You shape what will become. May we be worthy to the task and summon the strength to create a prosperous future, to honor those who come before us. Amen, and so may it be. it says in your order of service. Does it? Let's see. Oh, it doesn't. Good. Because I had to change the reading. It was supposed to be from Roger Fritz, who was a prior minister here, from a Recollections and Goodbyes from his final sermon in this church. And I had forgotten that we just recently restored our historical room, and it looks beautiful, by the way, if you'd like to go up and check it out. But it also means that everything that was in the historical room is no longer in the historical room right now. It's out in boxes in the parish hall. And I thought I would be able to put my hand on that pamphlet right away, and I could not. Therefore, you will be treated instead to what was on the cover of the when our building was rededicated. This was on the cover from William Potter in 1938, from when this church was originally dedicated. Bill Potter is that guy over there in the crook. I trust this house will continue to stand. Let it stand in the midst of the rush of trade and the ebb and flow of material enterprise. To each an integrity as incorruptible as the granite rocks from which it was quarried. Let it stand in its own naked solidity, severe, clear-cut against the skies, clean as in youth, to represent the candid, solid character and fresh hopes of those who built it. Let this church be a veritable people's palace of improvement, beneficence, and delight for all sorts and conditions of men. And for those people who have given me trouble in the past about calling our church a castle, here it is, William Potter. People's Palace of Improvement, all right? Now, you can join with me. I am going to sing our next hymn a cappella, but you are welcome to accompany me. It is number 357, Bright Morning Stars. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is a breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear mothers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? Day is a breaking in my soul. They are sowing seeds of gladness. They are sowing seeds of gladness. They are sowing seeds of gladness. Day is a breaking in my soul. Oh, where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear fathers? Day is a breaking in my soul. They are in the fields a plowing. They are in the fields a plowing. They are in the fields a plowing. Day is a breaking in my soul. Thanks for singing with me.
Hi, cutie.
Now is the time in our service where we take our collection for the good works of this church, of which are many, many here. So we ask you for your kind donations today. That's cool. You know how over the years I've said that when Randy started here, he looked like he was about 12 years old? I got the picture with me today, Randy. I got it right here. So if you're feeling upset because we've had so much loss and grief this year, just come take a look at this picture. It'll really make you smile, okay? I definitely did. In fact, Sarah and I were kind of crying, laughing so hard, looking at some of these pictures of people from our past, which is where I got most of these pictures that are in this display over here, and I hope everyone will take the time to come and take a look. I did our first Honoring the Ancestors service on All Souls Day, November 1st, 2015, when I was first called to this congregation. Just about a month into my new job, our longtime member, Edna Thone, passed away, and sadly her son Douglas followed her not even a month later. But Edna's death and her talent for needlework in life inspired me to have a footstool service recalling all the women, past and present, who took part in creating these magnificent works of art that sit at your feet. It was a wonderful way to appreciate so many hands that did that work and to bring their spirits to life in this sanctuary and say their names. And I recall it was the same day that Bob Piper, in his recollections about former members, revealed to us that Gladys Goldberg's mother, over there, Gladys Goldberg's mother, Ethel, cheated at bridge by pretending to be bad at math. And someone apparently always had to check her scoring. And there is video evidence of this somewhere. I think Chuck Dade has it. This year is a little different, isn't it? In fact, this year is a lot different. We were apart for 18 months, and a lot happened. This pandemic has spared no one its effect. Everyone knows someone who has had COVID at this point. Most people know someone who have died from it. As a people, we have suffered the loss of over 755,000 souls in our country. And between the time that I wrote this and right now, we have likely passed the 5 million mark of deaths worldwide from this pandemic. We're here today to honor the ancestors of our church, but we cannot ignore this weight of global grief. So as the season of remembering those who have passed comes to fruition at Halloween next week, make time for a prayer on All Souls Day for the deep loss to humanity that we've had to absorb together. And say a prayer for each other's safety and for remembering. But here and now, let's look to the losses that we've had that have affected our congregation in the last 18 months and celebrate their lives with a few stories, or recall a story from long ago from someone else that might have been here if you'd like to share it. I have a microphone down here that I will share with you shortly. In fact, I'm going to come down right now. It is, yes, the microphone is on, if you're wondering. Bob Piper, as I said, Bob Piper used to love this service. He would come up here and dish dirt on everyone he could think of. It was great fun. He passed away in May. Bob is left in his will that he wanted his ashes buried in our churchyard, and so they are. And that's nice to know. Bob used to always, he used to love when we would open our gate and have lunch out in the yard for people. We'd have tables out there. We still do. And people would come and walk the labyrinth. But when I was first here and, kind of fresh and really excited about all this stuff, opening the gate every day, Bob was here all the time. He loved that idea. And he said, well, if you got a good idea, you got to have people to help you make the idea keep happening. So he showed up just about every day and had lunch here, and that was really nice. Does anyone have any recollections of Bob Piper they would like to share before I move on? Go ahead, and I have, I'm using this right here so that we can disinfect in between. Smart.
Bob baked the best breads, but I'm gonna diss on him because Bob had an eye for very attractive young women in this congregation.
That's all you had to dish on Bob? Jeez. It probably is enough.
We first joined about almost 9 years ago now, and Jack, my husband, would joke, I have to watch out for that Bob. Got to watch out for that Bob. He's ready to steal you from me. And he was very generous. Like when we had any kind of sale downstairs, he would say, what can I buy for the boys? What would the boys like? And sometimes he would just buy them a pot holder, you know.
That's nice.
Hi, the one thing I remember of Bob, and it's kind of funny because everybody said how he's attracted to younger women, and he said that he originally found this church because he went on a Sunday morning walk and saw this beautiful red-haired woman walking to the church, and he followed her to the church and saw what was inside. And I guess from what other people said was the most embarrassing part of it was that woman was in that church years later when he actually said the story. I don't know who it was. Somebody could probably enlighten me to that.
I wonder, red hair, huh? I wonder if it was L'Oreal. Let's see. Yeah, Bob. Bob cracked me up. Judy Brownell. We have Peter Dautel here, Judy's son. Judy, I love Judy. Judy was my friend. We would talk on the phone. We would drink wine and smoke cigarettes when we shouldn't be, out on her back porch and tell jokes, and she would call me, and we would talk a lot in the couple years before she passed away. And Judy just made me laugh. She cracked me up. She was just so vivacious and strong, and was such a great proponent of what I was doing, and just always told me I was doing a great job, and thanks so much for all you do. And do you need anything? She was generous as well. Bob Piper was certainly generous. Judy Brownell, also generous. That organ up there was her baby. She gave plenty of money to make sure that that would stay in tune and have everything that it needed for many, many years to come. I will miss Judy very much. Would you like to say something, Peter?
Good morning. I'm Peter Dautel, Judy's son. I don't have any dirt to dish out on, other than Timothy and I engaging in some scurrilous activity in the overhead during Sunday services, or finding our way into the kitchen and making ourselves chocolate chip bread, which the congregation amazingly found edible, much to our surprise. This is my first time being in the church in a while, and looking up and seeing the organ that Mom loves so much brings back a lot. She gave a lot. She loved this church. She loved the congregation. She loved everybody. She loved the whole part of it. The musicians, the soloists, everyone involved. And I guess a life lesson or a torch passed on to me is to be more appreciative of that And what a wonderful place this really is. And great ministers, too, that I can let my hair down with and share my thoughts and feelings. But she loved all of you guys, and she loved being here, and especially that. And thank you for letting me be here today. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And he has also given us this lovely picture of his mom, and I think that might be Chris Brown, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Somebody might be able to tell me. I know it's not Dirk Flintrop. Let's see, who else do we have? Trudy Clark. Trudy ran our thrift store for many years. She's been a great friend. She was a terrific advocate for women's rights here in New Bedford, helped with the Women's Center. Trudy was just amazing and died very suddenly. And I know that our thrift store is, you know, it's a loss to our whole community and to our church, but especially to our thrift store. If anyone else would like to say something about Trudy, I don't even know what to say about Trudy. Joan, here, thank you.
That's all right.
Okay, then stand up and speak loud.
Okay. When Trudy and I started fundraising, just little things, bazaar, whatever, raffle, and you know, when I first met her, I thought, I said, well, how do you think we'll get along? And she said, we're fine. And that truly was, she's easy to get along with and do things with. She's very generous. And when I heard that she passed away, I felt angry. I thought all those, because we had planned this yard sale, and it was going to be so much fun, and doing anything with her was fun. And I thought, how could she die? I mean, we had things to do. And I'm sure watching her with her family, I can't imagine their lives without Trudy, and I think of her.
That is something that we struggle with especially when people who just don't seem old enough to have passed away do. It's okay to be angry. There's a good reason for it. It doesn't feel like it should happen. I was pretty upset too. Yeah, no, that shouldn't happen. I understand. We also lost Man Reed and Tom Risden, and I didn't know either of these gentlemen. But from the stories that I have heard, they were both really good men and had a big hand in shaping this congregation as well. Do either of the Lunds want to say anything about Tom or Man? Well, I hope you will pass on our love and say that we were thinking of him today. Claudette Blake was our administrator in this church for many years, and the Blake family suffered the loss of both her and her son Donnie this year. which was very sad. Both great movers and shakers in this community, great givers of themselves, both of whom will be sorely missed. I mentioned Chris Brown. I only got to meet Chris a couple of times. Chris Brown is known by many people around here because he was the piano tuner. He tuned our pianos for years and years and years, and many, many people around here said, oh yes, of course, he used to come and tune my piano, and he'd tune my piano, and he'd tune this guy's piano. So he was even though he wasn't here for Sunday services, and most of you never got to know him, Chris was part of this church, so we will remember him here. Reverend Calloway, Richard Calloway, passed away this year. He was the minister when I first joined this church. He's been away in Dorchester, I believe, and in fact, I found out last night after I left a message for Jean that there is a service for Richard Calloway in Dorchester today. I didn't know that until I spoke with Cora later on, because it was only put out on Facebook, apparently, by Ron, and I wasn't a friend of his on Facebook, so we will be thinking of Richard today. If anyone has a Richard story, I'm sure there are many, many, but Richard actually served this congregation twice, once in the 60s, and again from 1980-something to 1990-something, I think it was. So we will miss Richard. That's right, Richard. Absolutely. That is correct. And Richard also put up the money to buy Gallery X. And I was a member of Gallery X at the time, and it made a big difference going from a little storefront to having our own building. And he was, we were able to buy the building from him. And we thank him very much to this day for that boon. Yeah. Oh, Richard encouraged Randy to apply for this job. Oh, good. Oh, good. That's good to hear. Well, we're glad that you're still here. Joan Stratton. Joan Stratton was a tireless advocate for LGBTQIA issues here in New Bedford and the area, and she was a driving force in the Pride Cafe that we used to hold here in our church. And she was also an educator in our community and educated this congregation as well on issues like that. Nico, would you like to say anything about Joan? Perhaps you knew her better than I did.
Well, Joan became a good friend to Tom and me, and whenever we had a cookout, she would come with her macaroni salad. And even though Tom hated elbow macaroni, that was the one elbow macaroni dish that he would eat. Yeah, we miss Joan tremendously. The last time we saw her was October last year. At this time, we all went to the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular in Providence at the zoo. And yeah, we just really miss her.
Well, while I've got you here, let me say a word about Robert Anderson. Robert and Rose used to own the building right next door to us, the house next door to us. Robert was a playwright and a poet. His wife was an amazing seamstress and dancer and artist in her own right. And Robert passed away rather unexpectedly this year as well, and was a very good friend. And he was missed. He's, Robert, where were they living now? In Florida, right?
After they left here, they wound up moving back to Rose's hometown in West Wyoming, Pennsylvania, which was near Wilkes-Barre. And one of my favorite stories about Robert was the one that they told on the radio station. and sometimes you would hear it playing on the local NPR station. Robert was very involved in martial arts and Tai Chi, and shortly after they moved to this area for Rose to go to the Swain School of Design, Robert was at Fort Phoenix doing his Tai Chi routine, and apparently someone had called the police on him because there was somebody on drugs or something doing strange maneuvers in the park. And so as Robert was doing his Tai Chi routine, a police car rolled right up to him and 2 officers came out ready to pounce until one of them realized that, oh, he's just doing martial arts. Oh, my goodness.
Robert told me that story himself. And, he thought it was just hysterical that they thought he was a crazy person on drugs because he was doing Tai Chi. Kermit Dewey, we lost this year. I spoke to Val yesterday, and she said to give everyone her love, but she is going kayaking today with her daughter-in-law, or her daughter, and is going to go have a good time and enjoy this weekend. She said there's not many days like this left, and she's right. I don't have a lot of Kermit stories, personally. I used to love to see his smile, and he was always very supportive of what I was doing and saying, you do a good job. And that really feels good sometimes. So here's to Kermit. He will be missed. And Gertrude Burr, we had her service just a couple of weeks ago. So happy to see such a great turnout for her service. It was over at the Wamsutta Club, the James Arnold Mansion, excuse me. And great music, great people. Gertrude was, I used to love to talk to her on the phone. She was a great conversationalist. She and Sarah, too. She didn't meet Sarah very often, but she talked to her a lot. And Sarah was just kind of devastated when Gertrude passed away that she would not be able to talk to her on the phone anymore. She was a smart, smart lady, and just a sparkling conversationalist, as I said. Clever, one of 600 scientists at MIT, the one that was a woman back in the 30s. So that's quite amazing to me. And last, but certainly not least, I lost my son this year, Dylan, and that's been very hard. It'll be a year on the 6th of November. Dylan was a musician, a larger-than-life person generally, made me laugh, made me cry. Nico used to babysit for him when he was just a wee lad, and his twin brother. His stone is finally at Riverside Cemetery, which makes me very happy, having him in the ground and resting and a nice place to go visit. But it's hard. Loss is hard. I'm going to go back upstairs here. No loss is easy, right, Brody? We were talking before, Brody and I, about Brody's mom. She hasn't passed away, but he doesn't really know what's going on with her either. And, we talked about how loss doesn't necessarily have to mean that someone has died, right? It can still mean that we just miss them, and that's okay. So there's lots of people up here that are represented that I didn't know, although I do have some stories just from prior years talking, doing the same sort of service. I know that lady right in the middle over here with the big hat on. I know that she loved to wear bangles. I remember Maggie talking about that, and that she was a great dresser. for instance. So please take some time to come up here at the end of the service and take a look around. The weight of our history is so palpable here. The beauty and challenges of a congregation with a long history are numerous. But I think, like having really good parents, the influence of those who came before us remain long in a church like ours. And they've given us some good examples about how to be good neighbors and good friends to each other, not to mention how to deal with the endless aspects of running a church. The feet that have walked these floors, put their feet up on the footstools, rings out strong. Years, decades, and centuries after people have shrugged off their mortal coil, something of them remains here. This is a benefit of membership that we don't often think about. We make history here. As much as anyone has ever done in our past, we now in our present are creating the future. We are going to make the history. We come here, we gather in covenant together on Sundays, we join committees, we create policy, we care for and listen to each other, we laugh together, we share our stories and our work that goes into making a church a strong, happy place full of life and hope. For 183 years, this building has been shaped by the hands and the voices of its people. We are the hands and the voices that shape it now. But we honor those who have come before us. They are not just names. They did the work along the journey, and they are part of this long and beautiful story that is our congregation. We do indeed stand on the shoulders of giants here. So at this time of year, when the veils between worlds is thin, we call upon all the ancestors of this church who fought for civil rights, for social justice, who cared for the poor and helped the homeless, who regarded every life with dignity, who helped others to prosper, who captained ships and died at sea, who stood upon their principles in the face of adversity here in this place. We ask them to protect us in this challenging time, look over us and lend us their strength for the fight ahead, and bless us on our journey as we continue their work. May their past bring power to our future. For all that is our lives, for all those who have come before us, and for those who will one day call us ancestors, we are grateful. And we say, amen. And blessed be. I am going to sing our final song. If you will give me a moment. This is called The Parting Glass. It's an Irish traditional song. Of all the money that e'er I've spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I've had, they're sorry for my going away. and all the sweethearts that e'er I've had would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and I'll softly call, good night and joy be with you all. Good night and joy be with you all. Our closing words are from William Potter, again from his sermon In Darkness. It was by Paul Revere Frothingham, referencing William Potter's death. Let us hold to the only light of gladness that we have, and rejoice that what is past we are sure of. It is impossible to make it not have been. We have not lost him then. He is not gone from us. The sunlight of his message still floods our memories, and we will still enter into ever fuller growth, the better things that sleep beneath the surface of our lives. So may we go out and spread that great thing that is beneath the surface of our lives, our energy and our love everywhere. Thank you, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great day, everyone.